Did he find somebody with property? Did he remember that he knows someone?
Yeah, all of a sudden I got pictures. Son of a pup.
He doesn't
We're
need
looking
you
for
anyway.
elk. Yeah, looking for some elk.
If you know where the elk are,
Do you know where the elk are?
send us a message.
Put it
Well,
in
your
the
friend is
message
looking.
below. Yes. I'd like to get an elk while I'm here.
Man, it's getting cold.
Yeah, right.
That's the last thing I'd want to do right now. So stand out and wait for elk.
Well,
I don't know the process. I'm sure people get all comfy and cozy in their heated. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm still not a hunter.
Well, bow hunting for them is started, I think, a few weeks ago. So I mean, you can do it when it's warm out and you call them in.
Yeah.
I just like to try that.
I know, because you have never gone out, and you said you wanted to do that when you were.
Right. I'm actually a champion archer. Actually.
Champion archer. We have a picture.
I am a good archer. I love archery.
Yes.
No.
I know. And I got you this nice bow for Christmas, and I haven't seen it since.
No, it's all tuned up,
for 2
ready
years.
to go. Listen, I shot at a couple back there. I can hit a freaking pimple off of a squirrel's butt. No pun intended.
I'd like to see that. How's that a pun?
Oh, because the squirrel thing. Do you know the thing that's going around on the internet?
Oh, yeah. No, he doesn't actually mean. He's not going to hurt a squirrel, people. Calm down.
No hurting the squirrels. I feed them.
Leave the squirrels alone.
Right. They're going to come and get all of our squirrels here.
Justice for Peanut.
Right, because we feed them. You can hand feed these ones. They just sit there and he looks at me.
You are an animal whisperer.
I love animals. Yeah, that's
an animal whisperer.
Yeah, so I kiss trout.
It's wild. I've seen him get birds to dance. And yeah, animals will just come right up to you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things. Yeah, birds will fly right to you. You're like a Disney princess.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the Teacher's Curse. I'm Annie.
And I'm Kevin.
So you and I, well, you closer than I because you were directly, but you grew up with a teacher.
I did.
In your house.
Yes.
My grandmother was a teacher, and that definitely trickled down onto me. What was your experience being raised by a teacher and then to turn around and now you are a teacher raising your own? What was it like?
Oh.
Especially because you had struggles.
Oh, yeah, I had big struggles. Yeah, I had struggles. Boy, did I have struggles. Yeah, I had a lot of struggles. I had so much struggle that one day I told my mom, told the crossing guard I was taking the day off. My mom's a teacher. Okay, she's supposed to be right behind me, but I'm walking. She made me walk. Okay, she still made me walk, and she would get to school, and she had to be by class by 8:00. We would start walking still at 7:00 or so to get to school.
She's driving by you.
Sometimes, yeah, she honks. No kidding. Right. Not kidding. That's why I get you, okay? Because I get you. You don't get up in the morning. My mom wasn't a morning person either. But class didn't start until, whatever time. So we still continued to walk, and I got rides every, once in a while. I get mom's car. And one day I took a day off, and I came to the crossing guard who knows every one of those children and where they live. And I said, I'm taking a day off. And I got halfway I got more than halfway across the street, got to school, turned around, and came back.
Nope.
Right. And she crosses me. She goes, what are you doing? And I said, I marched across the street and I said, I'm taking a day off. And I went home. And now my mom's getting ready. Now she's behind now because I was, only a little bit behind. She gets in there, her nightgown real quick, right, and stuff, puts her thing over, puts it in the station wagon. And this is when, well, the Griswold car, we had that one with electric locks. And my mom got out at the front where you pull in the front of the school, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to school. She got out. I locked the door.
Wait, she's in her robe?
She's outside in her robe. I wouldn't let her. She had the principal out there.
That's right.
Trying to beg me to open the car. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to school. The car is running. Okay.
How mad was she? Because I know how mad I would be.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the grace of Jane Leatherbarrow.
Well, it kept getting worse because I knew I was going to get beat. I'm like,
now I can't
not
wear it.
if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get it for a reason.
And I'm taking the day off.
There has to be. No, I didn't get the day off. They dragged me into school anyway.
How did they get the car open?
There, you know those little windows in the back that slide open?
Yeah.
They got right in the back.
They had to break into the car.
No, they just pushed on it, right? And then they were trying to get in, so I let them in. I let them in. Once I could see they could breach the car, I was like in second, third grade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
living with being.
So, right, because not only did you do that just to your mom, but you did it in front of all of her coworkers.
Colleagues.
Yep, all of her, the
Mr.
principal.
Harmon to the principal's office, but I can hear in the loudspeaker now. Mr. Harmon to the principal's office. We have a situation outside. A kid has, they would say this right over the loudspeaker so they can get the principal out
It's
there.
Kevin.
It's
again.
Kevin. Yep. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know that's only one of many stories. But what were some things that your mom did as a teacher that she would bring home?
Read all the time.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, my mom had a definite library downstairs. TV was not an option. You had, to get out in freezing cold to change the antenna anyway, until they came with those electric ones. But no, hers was, a lot of time spent practicing reading all the time, just reading. Reading and doing.
Which was a huge struggle for you.
It was which worried her, which I think led to a lot more of me being, forced to read. By spoon. No, just kidding. Read or else. I can't.
Just read the word.
Yeah, just read the word. So I think it's taught me that to be, patient, because no matter how much I tried all the way up to like 5th or 6th grade, it really didn't click for me. So audio learning and stuff, but having a mom who had a resource that knew, who has educated and could help in those manners, calmed a lot of my anger issues, because my classmates could read, I could not. I was being pulled out for recesses. I was being pulled out for reading interventions. I was being, so I think my mom also did the overlap, like he needs to, which every mom should. I'm her first number one, and I'm Kevin Leatherbarrow.
Of course, first and foremost. And wouldn't she record audiobooks for you?
She would. She did that for the whole class though too.
Okay.
Like when she would put her lesson plans in the summertime, she would go down to her own personal library and get a can of Hill's Brothers freaking coffee can, turn it over, and use it as a stinger. And she would read and put it on cassette.
Oh.
And when I did my master's program, all of those audiobooks were still there. All those my mom did, all the tapes and the books, and I got to, they're on cassette. They were still pristine, and they be listened to. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is super cool. And obviously it made you who you are today, even if you didn't know it until later in your life.
Yeah.
Because both you and I have said, like, we never wanted to be teachers.
Right.
I remember the moment where I was standing in my high school hallway and I'm watching these kids act like animals. And I said, if you're electing to be a teacher, you are out of your mind. I remember thinking that was my senior year. And obviously I changed over time because I realized the importance of it. I realized the importance of good teachers. And she always thought that, because the thing is, a lot of the time we are natural teachers. Yeah. So we end up teaching people anyway.
Right.
So was that something that you experienced?
Yeah, I think so.
Because your mom saw it in you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was always teaching. Like I always like to help people.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, and so yeah, there was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my grandmother was a teacher, mostly for lower elementary, but then she ended up being the school librarian.
Mm-hmm.
So I too grew up with a wealth of books at my disposal.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where every time I went over, I'd ask if I could go to her library. And she would just let me, I'd leave her house with a stack of books this high.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, I credit a lot of my reading to her. Because every time I went over, it was the same thing where we weren't watching TV. We were expected to sit down and read if I wasn't playing. So,
or outside.
yeah, and she made me read to her.
Mm-hmm.
She would read to me a little bit, but she really wanted to challenge me to read to her. And I think because of that, reading just kind of became a part of who I am. But then it also translated to the understanding of why it's so important to start it young
Mm-hmm.
and to almost demand it in a way. Even if it's a struggle, there's still this thing where it's like, but you must, let's find a way.
Yeah, she searched out. My mom searched out every way to help me. So I think I turned out to be a poet more than a writer, because I had to learn how to write shorthand too.
Right.
So, and my mom allowed that. And
you can get away with talking funny in poetry.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what this guy's saying.
But I mean, there was no audio testings. There was no audio.
Right.
But so I was a terrible test taker. Contrary to my sister, who was different. I think if we asked her too, how kind of effective she has a same kind of. Well, she started a facility kind of like ours. She started a tutoring agency. So it really goes to show, when, because I looked at my dad, and especially for males, because I looked at my dad as a auto worker and somebody who worked with his hands, and I too was tactile. I loved working with my hands, but in different ways, and so I didn't latch on to, working on cars and vehicles and doing all that other stuff. Although, again, like reading, he made me, so I had to. And so, but again, I'm glad I did, because I knew how to do what I needed to do to change my tire, carburetor change, all that stuff.
I was also not a very good test taker. Believe it or not. For some reason, people have a hard time believing that about me. But in reading, I always tested low. But when I was getting my English degree, I was talking to somebody it was a professor. The professor was sharing a story with us that she also always tested low in reading. She said, but I could always explain why I chose the answer that I did. She said, well, then you should go be an English major.
And that's the whole.
Like, yeah.
That's the sick irony of me, too. It's disgusting, because when you think about going, if you're as much as a dyslexic person as I am, and ADHD and everything else people tell you are, or whatever, and you go back to college when you're older, that's good. You have a better handle on how to do things, right? But I wanted to go into psychologies, right? I wanted to be a child psychologist / whatever. I don't know. But truth be told, I wanted to be a professional bass fisherman.
Well, right.
Hello. Okay. But when you're supposed to be looking for a career for lives, bass fishing didn't happen. Okay. So going through all of that, I think having a mom who was a teacher really persevered with me to keep moving, but I end up being an English major.
Yeah.
I found myself. So I think
because when you get into English, it's so much more than just the reading and the grammar and the writing and the structure. Those are components of it, but it
Right.
gets into the analysis, and it is psychology.
I don't think you can test art.
No.
I don't think. I think all the English tests you guys had to take to get your teacher certification for English. You're being tested on an art that somebody else told you to interpret the art the way you're supposed to.
Yeah. And I even found those tests difficult,
Yeah.
but I did well on my papers where I had to analyze.
Yeah.
You know, and present an argument for why the author possibly decided to go this direction. And I tried to instill that in my students that, you know, it's not always a black and white answer, and that's okay. But you have to be able to explain why you think that it is the way that it is.
So how, and here we are to the teacher's curse a little early. How do we teach Elliot that right now? How do we teach this boy where we are? And I have such a mixture of tools in my tool chest from all of those times, you know. I mean,
yeah, he's very artistic. And I even said that to myself today, because when he creates things, you know, they're very different from anything else that you might really see kids do. Like, he does everything with purpose.
Yeah.
Like, he makes these little clay monsters, and you would think that he would go work for Pixar or something.
Other characters too.
They're great. And so he definitely has that in him. But of course, I wanted reading I wanted him to understand early on that, like, reading is a part of life.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be something that we're trying to fix later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
And he has taken to that, even though there's been some headbutting, there's been some resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's finally to the point of, like, oh, I have to read. Like, I have to read. Games are another thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you always said that if they're reading in games, they can read. Yeah. And it's amazing how motivated they will be to read.
To get to another level.
Right. So he's understanding that he's reading show titles, you know, because I make him say, "What are you watching?" Because he's got to be able to tell me what he's watching.
Last year he couldn't say any.
Right.
I mean, now.
Yes.
Now he reads actually the new ones that are popping up, and I don't even have them yet.
Yeah.
I didn't read it. I didn't read it to him.
And he is finally getting to the point where when we do read a story together, I'm seeing those light bulb moments go off of, he's like he understands what's going on in the story, you know, and he's like, oh, he's doing that because of this.
So what do you think? Yes, so what do you think his life is going to, will he be sitting here someday like us? Will he be a teacher? Will he be, you know, where will he be in this?
I know, I've wondered that too.
So, I mean, my son,
the teacher's curse will be passed on to him.
My son does not know he's a teacher. Like, he always wants to help people. If you have the heart, you can teach.
Junior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have the heart, you can teach. If you really.
And Junior's a good teacher. He's taught kids of ours.
Sure.
He does very well.
The same thing I did. I rejected it.
Mm-hmm.
I rejected it.
So you pretend to be impatient, but really it's like you're not bothered by it.
Right.
We see through you.
Right.
Because he's very good at it.
Yeah, because he's nurturing. He is. He's a nurturing type of understanding and we have to guide him through the tough side of it. But
yes.
So
for the little one, for Elliot, that would be funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it would be.
I could almost see him becoming like an animator or something, which they are storytellers too, right? I said the best storytellers of our generation went to work for Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? The movies to me are just another form of literature.
Yeah, me too.
And, so sometimes it's really well done and it tells a really clear story and it makes you think. Sometimes it's just smut. Sometimes it's just, it's just basic.
I didn't like anything that wasn't. What's funny, what got me to learn to read were mystery novels,
Yeah.
mystery series, Sherlock Holmes, things of that nature. Those kind of series books, they're the ones, because I needed to figure something out.
Yeah. Did you
It was
read
like a puzzle.
Nancy Drew?
Yeah.
And what are the brothers books? I'm blanking. It'll come to me at 3:00 in the morning.
That's good because I didn't read them because I don't know who they are. So yeah. No, but that's what kicked off.
And were you a comic book reader?
I was.
See, I can see
Short,
him.
sweet.
We're starting that for Christmas because I got him some comic books.
Yeah.
And I want to see if he kind of takes to them. I think he will. But to lead us to where we are today and what we do, reading really is everything. If that reading is not there early,
mm-hmm.
then math is going to be a struggle. Science is going to be a struggle.
Yep.
Everything is going to be a struggle. Once they have the fluency part down, where they are actually decoding words, right? Yep. They see a word, they can sound it out, they can make a connection in their head. Once they have that down, their whole world opens up.
Yeah, like we've seen it.
Mm-hmm. And to not make that the highest priority in any school or home, or in my opinion, just as
it's criminal.
I think so too.
Because they can't read the laws, they can't read what's in front of them,
right.
They can't read, or interpret those.
They can't
critical
do
thinking.
What they need to do to take care of themselves.
Right.
And your mom saw that.
Yeah, she was really worried about me being able to live on my own.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can live on my own. I live in the woods for at least 4 or 5 weeks.
My mom, both of my parents saw that.
Having a job.
Even though I credit my grandmother a lot in that way, my mom and dad, reading was very important. And then it was just instilled by my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's become kind of a thing where having educators in our families has definitely lent to us creating what we have created.
2 people. I mean, my sister and I, she went back to school to get her master's in education.
Right.
So, I mean, two teachers out of our family alone.
Yeah. So
being raised by teachers.
And that's not uncommon. We see teachers in line all the time in families. So, there's definitely something that's important about those things being passed down. And I think that looking forward into the future, they're going to continue to be important.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yes. I don't have any other idea.
Thanks for being with us. This has been The Teacher's Curse. If you have any thoughts on your own experiences with teachers in the family or things that you thought were important that you are passing on to your own kids, send us an email at teacherscursepod@gmail.com. Make sure to like and subscribe our channel on YouTube, but you can also listen to us on Spotify. And if you have any questions about what we do at Go and Grow, check out gogrowtutor.com and you can contact us from there. It's been great being with you tonight. I'm Annie.
No, I'm Kevin.
Leather Brows out.